Vattasseril Geevarghese Dionysius, the Illuminator of the Malankara Church. Early life and education. Geevarghese Dionysius Vattasseril, also known as Dionysius VI, was the 15th Metropolitan of the Malankara Orthodox Syrian Church and was honored with the title Malankara Sabha Basuran, Illuminator, Son of the Church. His leadership was instrumental in establishing an indigenous denomination of the ancient Syrian Church, which traces its origins to the traditional visit of Apostle Thomas to Kerala in AD 52. Born on October 31, 1858, Geevarghese was the fifth child of Joseph Vattasseril and his wife Alayama. He completed high school at Church Missionary Society High School in Kottayam. Following his schooling, Geevarghese joined St. Thomas Dayara, a monastery at Vetikal, to pursue his theological training. Theological training and ordination. Geevarghese underwent extensive theological training at the Orthodox Seminary in Kottayam, where he spent 4 years mastering Syriac, church history, doctrine, the writings of the church fathers, and theology. He was ordained as a deacon in 1879 and as a priest on January 18, 1880. Recognizing his scholastic prowess, he was bestowed with the title Malankara Malpan, Syriac for teacher. His intellectual acumen and theological knowledge led him to publish several scholarly works, including Order of Worship, a liturgical guide; Syriac, Chapter 1, a foundational book for students of the language; Mathopadeshasrangal, Doctrines of the Church, remains a fundamental text explaining Orthodox beliefs with scriptural backing. Teaching and administrative contributions. In 1896, Geevarghese was appointed as principal of M.D. Seminary School and also served as a professor at the Kottayam Syrian College, Orthodox Seminary, commonly referred to as the Old Seminary. His contributions to theological education cemented his reputation as a leading scholar and mentor within the church. Monastic life and episcopal ordination. On November 2, 1903, Metropolitan Polycatal Joseph Mar Dionysius ordained Geevarghese as a monk, Ramban. Following his monastic vows, he moved into the seminary, dedicating his life entirely to theological study and church affairs. On February 14, 1908, the Malankara Association elected Ramban Geevarghese and Kochu Parampil Paloso Ramban for consecration as metropolitans. Later that year, the Patriarch of Antioch, Ignatius Abded Allaho II Satuf, instructed the elected monks to travel to Jerusalem for their consecration during the Great Lent. After a journey on April 13, 1908, they arrived in Jerusalem on April 23rd, where the Patriarch consecrated Geevarghese as a bishop, naming him Geevarghese Dionysius Metropolitan. He was appointed as the assistant to Malankara Metropolitan Dionysius V. Conflict with the Patriarch and excommunication. Despite his consecration, Metropolitan Dionysius VI was not granted the Stathikon, letter of authority, typically issued to metropolitans. This refusal stemmed from his resistance to the Patriarch's assertion of temporal wealth and property authority over the Malankara Church. The roots of this dispute lay in a broader conflict between the reformists, influenced by the Church Missionary Society, CMS missionaries, and the traditionalists. In 1876, Patriarch Peter III convened the Synod of Mulanturuthi, issuing rulings that later led to disputes over ecclesiastical authority. These tensions culminated in the 1889 Royal Court verdict, which contested the Patriarch's claim to temporal authority. When Patriarch Satov visited Kerala in 1908, he attempted to enforce these claims. Still, he met strong resistance from Dionysius VI and his supporters. On November 26, 1911, the Malankara Association convened at the Old Seminary and officially elected Dionysius VI as Malankara Metropolitan. In retaliation, Patriarch Satov excommunicated him. Formation of the Malankara Catholicate. Patriarch Satov's predecessor, Patriarch Abdul Mesih, who the Sultan of Turkey had deposed, still retained ecclesiastical authority outside the Ottoman Empire. He supported Dionysius VI and traveled to Kerala to resolve the crisis. In a historic decision, an episcopal synod convened and resolved to establish a separate Catholicate for the Malankara Church. On September 12, 1912, Patriarch Abdul Mesih transferred the dormant Catholicate of the East from Tigris to Kottayam, Kerala. Paulos Marivanos, the senior-most bishop of the independent faction, was consecrated as the first Catholicos, autonomous head of the Malankara Orthodox Syrian Church. 2 proclamations were issued, granting complete independence to the Malankara Church, including the authority to appoint its own Metropolitans and Catholicos. Legal battles and church constitution. Following the establishment of the Malankara Catholicate, Dionysius VI had to defend his position as Malankara Metropolitan and legitimize the autonomy of the church. Legal battles ensued, driven by the British Indian government's inquiry into rightful claimants to church properties. In 1928, the Travancore High Court ruled in favor of Dionysius VI, affirming his legitimate leadership of the Malankara Church. The court declared the excommunication invalid, stating that the Patriarch had not granted the Metropolitan an opportunity for defense before issuing the ruling. This legal victory solidified the autonomy of the Malankara Orthodox Syrian Church, but also led to a permanent schism between the Jacobite Syrian Christian Church, which remained loyal to the Patriarch of Antioch, and the Malankara Orthodox Syrian Church, which became independent. Dionysius VI also played a crucial role in drafting the church constitution, with assistance from Patriarch Ignatius Abdul-Masih II. This draft formed the basis of the 1934 Malankara Orthodox Church constitution, which continues to serve as a legal reference for disputes between the Orthodox and Jacobite factions. Final years and legacy. Amid growing tensions, Dionysius VI faced multiple assassination attempts, including an attack that claimed the life of his bodyguard, Geevarghese Dionysius, by the banks of the river Minakil. The Metropolitan, aware of the threats against him, is said to have carried a pistol for personal protection. In 1934, Dionysius VI suffered a paralytic attack. On February 21st, Basilios Geevarghese II administered the service of anointing to him. 2 days later, Dionysius VI passed away on February 23, 1934. The next day he was buried in the chapel of the old seminary, Kottayam. His last encyclical urged the faithful to safeguard the Catholicate, stating, "We entrust with you the responsibility to conserve the Catholicate, which you sincerely believe, along with us, as inevitably essential for the preservation, well-being and progress of our Church, and which we together had hitherto been conserving amid several hardships." Canonization and continuing influence. On February 24, 2003, the Episcopal Synod of the Malankara Orthodox Church canonized Dionysius VI as a saint and confessor, recognizing his invaluable contributions to the Church. However, among the Jacobite faction, he remains a controversial figure viewed as a rebel. Despite this division, his efforts to establish an independent Malankara Orthodox Syrian Church and his role in shaping its constitution have left an enduring legacy. His teachings and writings continue to guide the Church, and his unwavering commitment to ecclesiastical independence remains a testament to his dedication to faith and tradition.